stocks just to see, because I think stocks always lead commodities. I've said that since day one I've been in this space. We never did have crypto stocks. Now that we have crypto stocks, you get a pretty good idea what the tone of the market is based on how they're feeling. So generally green. You can see big boys, MSTR and Coin though, still red. And my little SRAX, these guys were in online advertising. So I guess it makes sense with the way Facebook and Google came out with earnings numbers, and they said that the online advertising soft. So I guess that would explain why these guys are getting whacked, because that's sort of their claim to fame. Interesting how things like HUT has been finally brought back down to earth. Ironically enough, we're probably actually starting to get into buy windows for a big Head and Shoulders. And that's kind of what I'm expecting, that sort of. I actually think, in normal years, it's sell in May and walk away. But I think this year it's probably still sell in May, but buy back in June, July, because there's going to be some sort of counter trend rally that takes us. There's the Head and Shoulders high. If this is a Head and Shoulders, that would make perfect sense. So I could see a scenario like this, people. Probably is still about a month away, but we just got to sit there and cool our jets. Somehow Brian's got to figure out how he's going to talk to you guys for 2 hours straight while we're still in a bear market and there's not really a hell of a lot to buy. So I don't know how I did it today, but I pulled it off. But I still think that the market's kind of meh. If you want to learn how to day trade, you want to learn how to, hey, there you go. So two people are like, all right, we'll talk about short strategies. So I suppose so. I don't really like, if you looked at an image like this, what is the very first thing that should jump out at you? Does Brian like to short in green boxes? Looking at this asset in particular, are we a little bit late to be thinking about shorting? Would the public now be thinking about, these are good shorts? This is a good shorting time to short. I bet that the public, will be clamoring about what is the hot short. But I might make the argument that actually I think we kind of missed the trade, to be honest with you. Then, of course, the public's probably going to be panic selling too, right? And it's all going to zero. So, ironically enough, like this coin here, I actually like the idea of putting yourself on a dollar cost averaging program. Pick some names that you want to get in. Maybe not go into the business of picking the bottom, but just have a few levels so that as the market works its way lower, you're still buying. But, like a good example, that CLAS, I was actually surprised how they just broke it again. So clearly, nobody's in an interest whatsoever here for this thing to bottom. It's just an absolute train wreck here, 9.5 to 10 now. I mean, I've already told you what my strategy is, so I'm not really in any hurry to sell, but, disappointing now we're actually breaking these lows. But we just got to sit there and twiddle your thumbs. That's obviously their trials are not. The problem here is that they said they weren't going to do phase 2 trials until the fall. So could this thing sit here and do absolutely nothing as when we go through this? It just looks like an absolute disaster. Hate to say it, folks, but yeah, I mean, you can see where my average cost is. I'm not really going to do anything through here. But, just sort of, another sort of anecdote. Great, same thing here on this B backed. I went and bought the position back here. Am I going to do anything if this thing slips down here and has to trade down to new lows? Probably not, because it's a Nanny Nibbles, little old lady. And as soon as, the market gets its act together, this is what I'll be doing on the other side. So, I'm not going to say little old ladies' strategies are fun in this part of the market state, because right now it's sort of like everything looks like shit and you're just slowly accumulating. And should we trade down into this $80, $90 area here over the next few months? Well, I'll probably buy a little bit more of this. So just be aware of that. Yeah. Didn't really actually have too many. Like I said, the meeting last night was all spent about short ideas. Whether we're going to short these bear ETFs or long the bear ETFs, or short things like Canadian bank stocks. I mean, that's ironically enough what we spent most of the time talking about last night. And the one thing I do like about the signaling system is it should give you equal number of long ideas as short ideas. So I mean, you want to play the key reversals. I love the key reversals. I found it fascinating how we got daily bearish key reversals. So what's this? Fallen knives ETF. So you're gonna short the falling knife pickers. And interesting telecom stock, grocery stock, the soybeans market. That's fascinating. So there's plenty of stuff for you to consider on the short side. And then remember these weekly reversals, huge signals on gold stocks and oil stocks. I find that fascinating. And then momentum pushes. You want to good old the People's Airline is a momentum sell. CAE, interesting. That's actually one of Canada's only sort of defense contractors. So interesting how that's breaking down. So yeah. Also, too, it would be a good idea just to check in on. These are sort of Brian's preferred screeners, but we do have old time tested like Davos. Of course, fascinating how we still make reference to Dav, even though I don't even think he uses this anymore. But definitely stuff to take a real good look at here. Let's just see, just out of curiosity, what do some momentum sell signals look like? Yeah, look at that big ass one. Jesus. So kind of breaking through key supports here. Yeah, don't know whether there's anything. Oh, wow. Look at that one. Dundee Precious Metals. That makes perfect sense. Interesting. Stellar Lumens versus ETH. So that's the one thing that's kind of cool about these signals. I don't know. I don't really like it. I like them broken apart and categorized. So some people like this, some people don't. But you'll notice that he gives you ideas on these things from both the stock and the crypto land intermixed. And then, of course, this is a really simple time-tested model. The bearish cross and the death cross and the golden cross. Although, wow, that's a weird looking chart. Yeah, that makes sense. Look at that, eh? That Core Worlds ETF. Sell it. So, well, definitely. And actually, look at that Constellation Software. Actually, it'd be interesting if any company comes out with earnings and they miss, or they're in like the online advertising business. The odds are that the short ideas would probably be really worth paying attention to. Oh, look at that. STXE 50 euro. A beautiful failure. Woo-wee. And of course, we showed you the German index earlier. Yuck. All right, so go have some fun with the screeners. If you do hunt short signals, I suppose now is your time. I've got a couple short trades trying to put them on. Looks like I've missed. I'm not going to chase. So wish me luck. If anything, if we get counter trend rallies back into reload zones, that's when I'll probably look at stuff.